discussion at atta-kusi.wordpress.com. 17 minutes after 8. Unfortunately, Samuel Jenfi of Tain NDC, KNUS, could not join us here in the studios. But let me get quickly to Bismarck Osei Echampong, Public Relations Officer of TESCON NPP on the campus of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Bank of Ghana predicting inflation rate of 9.2%. According to George Ajay's argument, government is not spending as much as it should, and that has led to the reduction in that particular. Would you agree with him?
Well, I think George has done the best of analysis that I've seen. I mean, I cannot agree with him no more. I mean, Ghana is the only country whereby our inflation target doesn't correspond with the interest rate. Tell me, where in this world have you seen that inflation has gone down and the interest rate is still up? If the government is saying that inflation right now is 9.52%, what is the interest rate now? The interest rate is hovering around 27%. So why lies the inflation that NDC government is talking about? They're just cooking figures for people to believe, which is not true. It's symbolic inflation.
You think so?
Absolutely. As George was saying, the government is not spending. As we talk now, the National Youth Employment Program, those people on the model of the healthcare assistant, 7 months now, they have not been paid. Go and talk to contractors who have been given various government jobs and projects. Go and talk to them. Let them tell you the realities on the ground, if the government have paid them. Not only them, teachers, nurses. I mean, and right now as we are sitting here, we are all talking about a single span salary structure. And let's be fact and realistic here. If that single span salary structure comes to fruition, I'm telling you that the inflation that they are talking about will jump. It will jump. It will move from a single digit to a double digit. And so, if you want to target inflation, it's just as simple as that. What they are doing is a tight monetary policy. They are not releasing money to spend. They are just siphoning money from the economy and just putting it somewhere with the hope that close by October, December, the oil money will come. And the oil money will come. Definitely. I mean, if only they are going to be fair to Ghanaians. Ghanaians will see that the oil money will have some positive impact on us.
If this is the strategy, as you put it, you don't think that that's ingenuity on the part of government?
It's ingenuity on the part of government. While you are siphoning money for your people to suffer? All over the government are elected to come and solve problems. You are not elected to come and compound problems for your people. I mean, the absolute interest of your people was the reason why the people delegated their sovereignty to you, for you to mandate and take care of their trust. And if you come and do policies that will push people to the wall, will you say this is ingenuity on the part of the government? It's a bad policy. We shouldn't allow that. It's a bad policy.
Okay.
So, as I was saying, it's just a tight monetary policy that the NDC government is using.
Okay.
And we are waiting to see if what they are talking about, that they will bring inflation down to the 5% or the 4% that they are talking about. We are waiting to see if that can materialize in this country. Don't forget that the single span salary structure in no time soon will be coming on board. And again, government has to find ways and means of going to pay for people whose salaries are in arrears. And obviously in this country, as you all know, government will always borrow from the public. And if the government borrows from the public, you all know the consequences. And then the government has to go and pay. And if you throw more money into the system, what are you doing? The inflation will just be an idle wonder. And it wouldn't reflect, as the NDC government is saying.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismarck Osei Echampong. This is your community watch on Focus 943. But latest news in here, and I'm reading directly from myjournal.com. It says the largest opposition new patriotic party has retweeted its national that its National Congress to elect a presidential candidate for the 2012 general elections will come off on August 7th, 2010. So the NPP is maintaining a date. Now, if you remember, there was a controversial press conference by 4 of the aspiring presidential candidate, and the meeting has been held to resolve issues, according to the report here by myjournalline.com, and according to the party, the date remains 7th of August this year. MPP goes to Congress on the 7th of August. It's still your Community Watch on Focus 94.3. Let me quickly get to Adade Kwaku Wafo on the issue of the targeted inflation of 9.2, or predicted inflation of 9.2 by the end of the year. Kwaku.
Well, Atta, you see, I would like to start by saying that, Ghanaians are all willing that inflation will drop to the minimum level. But the point is, it should drop in the right manner. You see, we have positive inflation decrease, and it is as a result of natural or a system of great economic policies. And I think, this time around, the inflation, well, indeed, will be dropping, but we have to look at why and how it is dropping. It is, as my brothers, earlier on said, it is due to, strict, monetary policies, which is, I believe, is unfavorable to Ghanaians, because at the end of the day, if the government of the day, you start cutting down expenditure because of your idea of profligacy, that the past government was spending too much, so you had to cut expenditure on education, healthcare. It breeds a whole lot of problem to fellow Ghanaians, and that is how come, you see, looking at the health sector now, even basic drugs, when it comes to the NHIS, are being sold for. How come? It is because of the decrease in the expenditure to the health sector. Look at the amount of fees public schools are now paying. Looking at our universities, our various secondary schools. At every term, there seems to be an increment. How come? Because of the cuts in expenditure in the the educational sector. So, and one last point. You see, what I know about the minimum wage is that the minimum wage should always correspond with inflation. But you see, the minimum wage right now in Ghana is way below the inflation line, and that is how come, no matter how the goods, commodities, the price of goods and services decreases, people are not in the position to purchase them. You see, the government should have, by this time around, should have increased the salaries of public service and civil service. And there have been so much agitations ever since the government came into being, but there hasn't been any response, and these are all cumulative and has culminated to this point that is actually making inflation drop. But it is unreasonable right now. Looking at the government. The government is actually now borrowing from commercial banks, unlike the previous government that was actually attracting all its financial supports from outside. You borrow from commercial banks, right? When the rate at which the government borrows from the commercial banks is the prime rate. So looking at the prime rate in Ghana, I am not actually sure about the figure right now, but you can see it is. They're saying that inflation is going to drop to a single digit, but you see, in stark contrast, prime rate wouldn't be, because the government is still borrowing from commercial banks. And you see, these are monies that the banks should invest in the country.